All right, so as you can see here, my front bumper got damaged, which kind of sucks because this is not going to be a simple fix. So this is how it looks like right now, but it's supposed to look like this. Let me tell you the backstory, okay? I usually rent out my cars, and when the guests brought back this car, they mentioned that they hit some type of ice wall or something. I don't even know what the hell happened, but long story short, the bumper is damaged. I took it in for them to do a quote or an estimate on how much it's going to cost so that I know how much the guest needs to pay. And let me show you this. So as you can see here, this is the quotes that was given to me, and right here, if you can see it, it shows that it's supposed to be $1,214 to fix that crack. Okay, and to me that is just ridiculous, because I can essentially just go and purchase entirely new bumper and paint it, and it's going to even cost less than that. Okay, so the beauty about this is I can actually claim this amount, but I can do a quick fix, okay? Because there's no way that crack should cost $1,214. As a matter of fact, I already got the tools that I need. Let me show you. I just purchased a few things, from a Canadian Tire and also from Amazon. All of this came up to probably something less than $150. So far, this is what I'm going to need. I may or may not need some paint, but we'll see how it goes. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is take off this whole entire front bumper. I already kind of got started on this. So here you'll see that there are some clips that I had to remove. Okay, they look like this. So I just took that off here. And also behind the wheel, there are some clips as well. Removed all of that. And of course underneath as well. Okay, so I got this thing right here, which is essentially supposed to turn my car's power into something that I can plug this into. Okay, and I'll show you what I'm going to use this for in a minute, but first let's get this connected. Okay, so essentially this device is going to be like a stapler. Okay, it's going to melt into the plastic, and let me show you. I just cleaned this a little bit, so you can see the crack over there. The point or the objective here is to make sure that all of these lines over here are stapled together. This whole crack over here, or welded together I should say, so that it doesn't crack any further. And then once that is done, I'm going to have to actually bond it. So as you can see here, I've been able to weld both parts together. So this is just going to hold it together, but eventually I'm gonna have to deal with the actual seams of the crack. Let me show you what I mean. So for example, here you can still see the outline of the crack, but I need to make sure that the outline is not even visible. Okay, so that's what we're going to work on next. Okay, so I went ahead and I cut these parts that are sticking out. So basically all the parts that were sticking out from here, I just had to trim them down, and now the surface is a little too smooth. And you're probably wondering, isn't that what we're going for, to make it as smooth as possible? But in order for the glue to actually grab a hold of something and actually bond properly, we need to make this area as rough as possible. Okay, so what I'm going to use is 400 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to make this area really rough. So I got a small injury here. It looks pretty deep, but you know, we're going to push through this. I'm going to use this. I'm going to make my own ghetto band-aid. I'm going to just wrap this around my finger and then put a glove on. Okay, so now my ghetto band-aid is done. To be honest, I still don't know how I got that injury, but we move. We have our compound here. One is the compound and one is the activator. Okay, so essentially, if I put one by itself here, this is the activator over here. So I have to add equal amount. So right now this basically does nothing until I actually mix them together. Once these are mixed, I literally have about 5 to 15 minutes to apply before it starts getting hard. Okay, so now that this has been applied, right now it should be as hard as plastic, but just as extra reinforcement, I'm going to add this fiberglass over here. Okay, so I've taped the crack on the other side of the bumper, just so that the glue and stuff doesn't seep through to the front. Okay, if you look at the back, you'll see that the reinforced fiberglass is here, and essentially, remember there was a hole in the front, so this is where the hole is, where you can see the tape. So this reinforced fiberglass over here is going to act like the back of the hole, the thing that actually covers this hole. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put another coat of that glue material here to cover this whole entire fiberglass here, and then you should, once I remove the tape from the front, you should see that this hole here is covered. Okay, so at long last, the gluing part is completed. So this right here will take about an hour or so to cure, but this is actually stronger than it was even before I started this. Okay, so this job is almost complete. The only thing I need to do is give it some time for this to dry. And remember, there used to be a hole here somewhere, and now since I applied this paste, it basically covered that hole, so it should make it easier for me to work on it from the front once I take the tape off. All right, so some time has passed, and hopefully the job that I did has fully dried and bonded, and so we can continue. I'm actually trying to get this whole entire thing done today. Technically the day has already ended. It's let's see, it's 12:16 a.m. and I'm actually trying to get this done in 24 hours or less. Okay, because the more time that is passing, the more days that this car could actually be going out, being rented, making me more money. But if it's not repaired and it's not out there, then my rental business is on a standstill. Okay, actually, technically I have another car out making me money right now, but that's besides the point. Okay, the more the merrier. So another reason why I'm trying to get this done quickly in the first place is because I can, you know. I was actually told by the person who provided the quote that this job cannot be done. Okay, he literally told, what's his name? His name is Neil Wood. Yes, Neil Wood. You told me this job cannot be done. I'm going to prove you wrong. Okay, he told me that basically the whole entire front bumper is going to need to be replaced, and I don't know, the filler is going to be too thick for it to even bond and all of that jazz. But we're making progress, okay? Neil, we're going to get this done. Okay, perfect. So as you can see here, the body filler actually covered this hole over here, so we can continue. Okay, so I'm going to apply this chemical agent again over here, so it's going to bond to the crevices of this crack over here, and mind you, it's probably going to look worse before it looks better, so let's see how it goes. All right, so this is how it looks now. The only thing is that I can't really rush this job. I just have to give it probably, I'll wait till tomorrow. I'll let it cure overnight, and then once it cures, I'll be able to sand it down. Right now it looks horrible, but once I'm done, it would actually look nicely polished. All right, so we're back again. So hopefully today is the day that the job gets completed. All we need to do now is just sand down the glue and then also paint. Okay, so I have some sandpaper here. Let me show you. So this is the sandpaper that we're going to use, and if you notice, there's numbers behind each one of these sandpapers. Okay, and this is important because it tells us exactly how smooth or rough the sandpaper is. Okay, so the higher number basically means it's smoother. We need to use all of these only because we need to start off by trying to remove the excess glue. Okay, so of course we're going to need something that is more rough to remove the excess glue, and then gradually we're going to work our way down to the smoother one, okay, to give it a smooth finish. Really and truly, we don't need to make it as smooth as a baby's bum, okay, because realistically nobody's going to be touching and feeling that side of the bumper, so it doesn't need to be that smooth, but you know, we'll do the best that we can. So as you can see, it's pretty dry, and I just taped off the edges here so that when I start sanding, I'm not going to accidentally scratch these parts. Okay, this is the only part that I need to sand over here. Let's get started. So this is how it looks so far. I don't know if you can tell, but there's still a little part of it that needs some smoothing. But then again, this is a part of the car that almost nobody even looks at or gets this close to. Okay, so I'm even contemplating whether I should even try to sand it down further or if I should leave it as is. So even though nobody is realistically going to see those blemishes, in the back of my head I know it's there, and because I know it's there, it's going to bother me. So I'm going to use this 400 grit sandpaper here attached to this drill so that I can basically quickly sand the excess off. Alright, so now after sanding it and painting it, it looks much better. Okay, and the final step is to add this thing called clear coat. So it's basically supposed to protect the paint and also give it that shine or gloss that it has. So before I do that, I have to wait for this to dry. But while I wait for this to dry, I'm just going to lift the car so that I can basically put all the bolts and everything back, because right now this bumper is just hanging on. It's not actually bolted and secured on. So I'm going to do that while this paint dries. All we need to do is add that clear coat like I mentioned, and then we'll be done. At long last, it is finally done. See, that bumper looks like new again. You might not even be able to tell at all that this bumper was once cracked. And I didn't have to spend too much money to get this fixed. So for reference, this is how it looks now, and this is how it was before. You can barely tell that there's any difference between the left and the right side. They look almost identical. Alright, so we're done. I hope this video serves as a lesson. Let nobody tell you that something is impossible or you can't do something, okay? Like I mentioned before, Neil told me, oh, this thing is not possible without replacing the entire bumper, blah blah blah, and then he gave me this quote of 1,214. Can you believe it? And if I do the calculations of how much everything costs, I mean, it's less than 200, okay? Somewhere between 100 and 200. It's a fraction of the cost that they were going to charge me, okay? So sometimes you just gotta be handy and take matters into your own hands, and you can actually save some money. In my case, I actually made money off of this, because technically the amount that I got as the estimate is the amount that is supposed to be given to me. There's no rule that says that you can't pocket that money and do the job yourself, okay? That is apparently the value of that repair. And I also hope that this was kind of educational, okay? So some people don't even know how to go about repairing some type of bumper crack or any type of body damage to a car. And essentially, as long as you have some type of body filler, which is the glue thing I was talking to you about, some fiberglass, and some sanding, and also the paint that matches your car color, you should be good. Anyways, so that's it for now.